Mm. Hey, everyone in Carolinas, down here in Florida with us, and Georgia, and all the way up the Eastern Shoreline. Please be safe. I hope y'all are okay and you're safe, and everything's going good for you. So just please be safe and check in if you can. I know some people don't have power right now. I can just tell you that now that I'm gonna leave it alone. But if you know, you know, when you don't have power, you don't have time to be on no phone, listening nothing or anything else. So I get it. I get it. So please be safe. That's all I can say. And try to stay indoors in the evening because criminals love the natural disasters. Let me say it again. Criminals love natural disasters. Okay, so please, in the evening as it's getting dark, please come back into your house. Okay. Now, I want to put something up on my screen to give you a throwback right here. The hurricane's name, it is Helene. So I've been calling it Queen Helene, but I kept thinking to myself, why am I, where do I know the name Queen Helene from? Queen Helene. And then I thought about it. I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. We used to have Queen Helene cocoa butter. We used to have Queen Helene hot oil treatment for our hair. We used to have Queen Helene cholesterol conditioner for our hair that I always had an issue with. And I often wondered, why would one put cholesterol on their hair? Child, I was little. I was looking at cholesterol and believing that I was putting Crisco on my hair. And I was so scared, child. Don't judge me, but I used to be paranoid about everything as a kid. Like if I didn't know a real answer, it's a problem. So I was looking at it, and I don't know why as a kid I knew cholesterol was bad. I don't ask me how I knew. Somehow I knew cholesterol was bad. I don't know how I knew. And I was talking about I was little, but I knew cholesterol don't supposed to be in my hair. Like, and then you had to grab a whole glob of it. Like scoop with your four fingers, like scoop it up out of the bowl. I mean, not the bowl, but you remember the canister used to look round like a little jar or something. You got to scoop your hand. It was in a jar like Blue Magic. And you got to scrape your four fingers in there and put it on your hair for quote conditioner. That crap didn't condition our hair. Lord have mercy. Jesus, thank you for being with us, honey, because that's all we had was Queen Helene. Lord, and her little cocoa butter kept us ashy and embarrassed. Yeah, honey. Her I remember one time I was out of lotion and I tried to rub that darn cholesterol conditioner on my legs. Honey, I was desperate. I did not want to be ashy, child, but of course it didn't work. Um, but that darn cocoa butter, man, you go outside, you were ashy before you even got off the sidewalk to go to school. Like your little legs look like you are colored in flour. Like your legs just being hit with a handful of flour. Boom. Right on your legs because you decided to use that cheap behind Queen Helene foolishness on your darn legs. And all because you thinking cocoa butter good though. Cocoa butter good for black people. Cocoa butter good. Black people use cocoa butter. We use cocoa butter. Child, they was using us for our little bit of money because that darn cocoa butter ain't work. It was liquidy. Okay, it wasn't a thick consistency of it had the cocoa butter scent. Okay, it had the scent, and then it made it out of some water and something else, probably part of the cholesterol conditioning, and then made it kind of thick, and then dumped it in a little tube or whatever. But I thought y'all would get a kick out of that about Queen Helene. in these trying times. Let me tell you something. Clark, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your compliment about the artwork. I enjoyed doing it. I've become more detailed about it. I'm doing a series right now, and I'll show you two of the images from it. So this is the image that I chose to create. She is the Jezebel character that's within the storyboard I'm creating because people expect for Jezebel to look a certain way, and I wanted her to be fun. I wanted her to be playful. I wanted her to be beautiful. And I decided to add elements of the fox to her face, as far as her eyes, her eyebrows, and her chiseled cheeks, and the way her chin looks. So, believe it or not, when you look at her, I want you to think like, "Oh wow, she kind of looks like a fox." And then I decided to create a fox fur shawl stole for her. So that's her. She's a beautiful woman. And within that storyboard, I was discussing how people think men view women as Jezebels because they have a lot of partners. That's not why. They call women Jezebels when they enjoy sex. People are like, men don't want somebody to be in with a whole lot of women. Well, women don't want someone who has, I mean, men don't want women who have been with a lot of men, just as women don't want men who have been with a lot of women. So it's unappealing to both sexes to have high body counts, but only one of those genders get away with high body counts, right? And so I just wanted to speak about and explain how being a sexual being has evolved over time for Black women, how it's perceived now, the backlash that comes from it. And please keep in mind, I am not talking about every single solitary demographic of women who would be deemed vixens or Jezebels, because I'm not talking about the sexy reds of the world. I don't know any other way to say it. I'm talking about a totally different demographic of women. Men have a problem with women enjoying sex. They do. They want you to only know how to have sex with them, that person, and adjust accordingly. However, men oftentimes don't know how to adjust to the woman that they're with. So it becomes self-centered and all about her pleasing him. He really don't put great thought into effort into ensuring that what works for her specifically is what he presents. Instead of, I'm a man, I know what I'm doing. I'm just jackhammer everybody to death and kill everybody ovaries and uterus and cervix, and I'm doing a great job, you know? So that's that. So that's the Jezebel vixen. And here you have the queen of the family. She is a nurturer, she is a supporter, she's protective, and she has quite a few hats that she carries. And she's the queen of the community. It may be the family or the household. But did you just notice everything that I stated that she would have to be in order to be deemed a queen? Yeah. She's gonna have to endure a lot, take a lot, sacrifice a lot, overlook a lot in order for her to be a queen. And better yet, you need to be cooking, cleaning, scrubbing, and loving at that same caliber, right? So those are two of the people within the storyboard that I'll be presenting, but I've already done 4 chapters of it, the different stereotypes of Black women, how they're harmful to us, and why we keep trying to uh, embrace those identities when it's not healthy for you and you're not being an individual. So it's really about women learning how to embrace their individuality, their uniqueness, their needs, instead of the needs of others. So, anywho, thank you for that so much, Clark. And I know I say Chicago Rainbow for last for a reason. I sure did. Chicago Rainbow. There you are. There you are. Hmm. There you are. Chicago Rainbow. I got beef with you. I have beef with you. Where you been, Chicago Rainbow? What you been doing, Chicago Rainbow? How you been doing, Chicago Rainbow? You just disappear, but I think when you disappear, you're in your happy place. Hmm. I do. But it's so good to see you. It was so good to see you in the comments. And you know what I noticed about you? You have somehow you have an impeccable, I mean, I don't know how you do it. Like you know music on a different scale from most people. And I always wondered, how do you know so much about music? Like how? I mean, I've always found that fascinating, even on my first channel. Like you would comment stuff about music and you just knew, like it just came to the surface to for you with no problems. I always thought that was really cool. Um, you said you really have your facts straight, especially when you was talking about the Roosevelts. By the way, it was Constitution Hall that Marian Anderson was banned from singing there. Thank you so much. I knew it was one of the, greater, bigger ones. It's so sad, what happened to her. But honey, let me tell you something. Eleanor Roosevelt was notorious for shaking the table for a sister. Oh, honey, she didn't care nothing about doing that. But did you know that later on, it was discovered in her letters and different correspondences that Eleanor actually had a long time female lover. She was same gender loving. And those letters were not released and made public until about a decade ago. But you can look them up and read them if you would like to. But she was still in a relationship with her husband, but she had a loving relationship with a woman, and they frequently traveled together as well. But another thing Eleanor did, Mary McLeod Bethune, Mary McLeod Bethune, you know, Bethune Cookman, Mary McLeod Bookman. Now, I'm thinking of how to say it. She was giving a job. Mary McLeod Bethune was given a job at the White House as an advisor for African Americans, Black Americans. Cabinet position, office in the White House, not behind or somewhere else. She had her own office in the White House. Every day she came to work. Eleanor Roosevelt would have to walk down that long driveway and meet her, hold her hand in her hand, and walk her up back to the offices. They refused to let her in. The military, who, were responsible for guarding the White House and all of this, they refused to let her in, even when they were told to do so. The only way they would let her in, Eleanor would have to show up so she can go do her job on a national scale to benefit Black people. You see, these are the things that we don't know about Black historical figures, and that is something we should talk about quite frequently, because I know we love First Lady Michelle Obama. We love her. She's beautiful. She's smart, great wife, great mother, great first lady, relatable. You know, I appreciate and I love her. But when it comes to a woman like Mary McLeod Bethune, She had an office, a job in the White House in the 30s. See, we're not talking about all the way up here in our time. You get what I'm saying? She was dealing with that when there were not any color photos of anything. You understand? She was going in there before anyone else were allowed to have that kind of capacity. Representation, especially a black woman. She struck the iron hot. And I think we should acknowledge that. But I wasn't sure if you know about that little factoid, Chicago Rainbow. Let me give you a heart now. Let me go give Clark her heart. Oh, there it is. I'm trying to get better at that, leaving the hearts and stuff so you can know I read it. And if there's a heart, more than likely I mentioned it in a video because I want to be able to tell you guys thank you because I mean it. I do. I do. I'm about to skedaddle. I forgot to tell you all last night that the video clip of Jay-Z and that night I mentioned to you all, it is on YouTube when he was going in with Beyonce. And just pay attention to his face and his mannerisms. Because he came in the back, or did he come in the back? that was mean, but it's truthful. But you can find it. Look up 2024 red carpet, not 2024, 2004 red carpet Jay Z MTV VMAs. Hmm. Yeah. You also need to pay attention to who all were at that billionaires luncheon he hosted, Billionaires Men Club or something. They had all these black men, and they were, you can tell they were highbrow brothers. So if you look on there, we might find some other leads too, as well. Now I'm off. I'm a skedaddle. I have thugged it out with a hurricane. I finally got some power, and I've been doing what I can to help others and take people food and stuff, and and then people like to talk and stuff, and just have somebody to talk to because they don't have no power at the time. That's cool, but that brings me to this: make sure your church has a generator because in times like this, we should be able to serve those who are in need. Have a good one. Bye.